All right, what's going on, everyone? I just watched season 1 of Stick on Apple TV. It's the first Apple show I've watched in a while. I also started the studio, so I'll review that once I finish that joint. And I sat down to record this review this morning, but then I was like, I need to change the background and the lighting and do all this stuff. So I spent the last about 9 hours, maybe 10, changing all the background, messing with the lighting. I'm still not done. I need to get a. I have a DSLR camera, but the lens on it broke, so I need to get a new lens, and then I can get a better camera up in here because I'm just using a webcam for this. So a lot of my videos, like unless you're watching it on your phone, they look pretty blurry. But I think it looks a little better with this setup. It's not perfect yet, but we're getting there. So Stick is about Owen Wilson. He plays Price Cahill, and he's a former pro golfer. And he was one of the best. He was up there with Tiger Woods and all the other, like a lot of the pro golfers they were naming were just going over my head. Like Tiger Wolf, like I know nothing about golf. Like I don't know anything about the players or anything. So I was like, oh, Tiger Wolf, yeah, I know Tiger Wolf's pretty good. So, but he was basically one of those guys. And the story takes place like modern day, and his peak was like early 2000s. So think of it like that. His wife or ex-wife, played by Judy Greer, who's Amber Lynn, and she wants to sell the house that they lived in together, but Owen Wilson doesn't want to let go. And you find out they did have a son who passed on, and you learn about that throughout the series. And it's really just an exploration of Owen Wilson and his grief and trying to move on. And that's where Peter Dager, I think is his name, who plays Santi Wheeler, he comes in, and he's at like a golf place. He's just dinging balls, and Owen Wilson sees something in him, and so he tries to like recruit him to like be his like coach slash mentor basically. And of course, at first he's reluctant because he's like, who is this random guy that just? I mean, he knows who he is because obviously he was a famous golfer, but he's reluctant at first, of course, because he is like, Santi's like, I don't really like golf. I just do this for fun. But of course, you find out later more about his backstory, about why he stopped playing golf and all this stuff. So the two of them have pretty good chemistry, I'd say. I do think Santi Wheeler does come off as like a brat for a lot of stuff. Like there are some times where it's like, okay, it's warranted with like the things you've been through in your life, but there are some scenes where it's like, okay, you're kind of just being obnoxious, and I get you're young and stuff like that. So I guess you can kind of give him a pass, but also with the kind of opportunity that was presented to him. Also, like Mariana Trevino is Elena Wheeler, who is his mom, and she basically like forces Owen Wilson to give them $100,000 like up front to like go on this journey. So like out of nowhere, basically Owen Wilson's basically like doing everything he can to like make his dreams come true. And then again, yeah, there are some times where he just comes off as like an ungrateful brat, but overall, I think it was fine. And Marc Maron is in it as Mitz, who used to be Owen Wilson's caddy back when he was, in his peak. They have a pretty good banter. They do like in Better Call Saul, how Saul Goodman and I forget who his friend's name was, but they would be at bars and they would do, like they'd basically trick people, thinking at first they'd act like they don't know each other to set up this thing, and then they trick some random unsuspecting person into giving them their money or whatever. So they kind of do that in this show with Marc Maron and Owen Wilson. They kind of do the same thing where Marc Maron will start talking crap to Owen Wilson at the bar about, I bet you can't hit this glass from over there with the golf clubs and with the golf ball. I got some clubs in the car and whatever. And then random people are like, I put money on it. Shut this guy up, dude. And so they have that kind of dynamic where they're kind of grifters in their like free time, which is kind of funny. And you also have Lily Kay as Zero. I didn't know anything about her until this show. Apparently she was in Yellowstone as well. I was looking through a lot of the reviews, and she is not liked very much, and you could probably guess why. But there were some reviews where it's like, actual criticism stuff, and some of them where it's just like clearly like transphobic or homophobic kind of stuff. So when looking at the reviews for this show, I would actually like read some of the things, because you'll see like a rating like, oh, that's kind of bad, and then you'll read it and you're like, oh, because you're just a crazy person. But I mean, I think she was fine. I do think I can see where people get annoyed, like the older generation, because she's like hardcore feminist, she'll call out anyone who, you know, does something stupid. She's like, the patriarchy kind of thing. So I can see where like the older generation gets annoyed with that. But I think it was fine again for where she is. And she doesn't even really have like a family. Like when he finds her, she's kind of just like a drifter. So she kind of finds a family with this crew and goes along with them with Santi on his golf journey. And I think the cast overall was good together. Owen Wilson obviously is the star, and Owen Wilson and Marc Maron are probably the two stars of the show. Judy Greer doesn't have many scenes. She's in the first episode quite a bit, but then after that, she's used sparingly. So, but the scenes she is in are good because, of course, she's Judy Greer. You have some cameos throughout the season from, like I said, like real pro golfers, and there's another actor in it he shows up on the IMDb, but I didn't know he was in it, so I'm not going to say who it is just in case you don't know, because it'd just be a nice surprise just to see. I will say it is 10 episodes, so towards the end, it was kind of feeling like a chore. Some episodes were kind of boring towards the end. Again, I think that's just what you get when you have 10 episodes, and I think that's like a standard for Apple shows that I was seeing. So, but I think for this one, it could have been like 8, maybe, and I think they're probably doing a season 2. So I'm curious to see how that goes. Hopefully they, pick up the pace, and maybe since all of the characters are established now, they can do something different. The story's heartfelt. It's got, some tension at times. But again, I think the comparison you'll hear a lot is like Ted Lasso. It's like Owen Wilson does Ted Lasso is basically what you'll hear. And it's kind of that, but I think in Ted Lasso, he like has no experience coaching. So it's like the opposite, where Owen Wilson actually was a pro, so he actually knows what he's talking about. So it's like a flip version of that. But I think it works. If you're looking for a chill, just feel good show to watch, I'd say watch it. If you're someone who's like bigoted and you're scared of gay people, probably don't watch it because you'll be like those other people who were freaked out by Lily Kay using they them pronouns in the show. But I will say another complaint is the mom at first, like I said, she like begs. Well, she doesn't beg. She demands Owen Wilson to give them $100,000 to take her son, on this journey, which I think is like a fair to drop everything and go on this journey that you don't know what to expect. So getting $100K, not a bad down payment. But as the season goes on, she has less and less to do. Even towards the end, there's a certain character that shows up and just throws a wrench in everything. And I feel like it could have been resolved if she would have stepped in instead of just standing there. Like these things were happening. She was like, "Oh, what do I do?" And I'm like, "You're the mom, bro. Like you're his mom." Also like you're on a golf course with 100 people. Like if this person tried to do anything to you, like you'd be fine. Like there's so many people that would protect you. So it just seemed kind of weird, especially like on live TV and stuff. So that was like the thing. Like a lot of the characters started off strong. I think Owen Wilson, his arc was good all the way through, but everyone else is kind of wanes towards the end, or like their characters kind of fizzle off. And I kind of hope they don't do a season 2 because I don't want to watch it. Just because I think the way it ended was fine. I'm sure the next season they'll, obviously, they'll try to take it to another level with Santi. Like, oh, we're gonna take him to another level of becoming a pro or something like that. But overall, fine show, fun show, chill show to watch. 30-minute episodes. There's 10 of them, so it's not that much of a commitment. Like I said, some of the episodes feel like a chore to watch, but overall, it's a good time. I'd give it like a 3 out of 5, just to, just fresh enough. Yeah, let me know down below. Have you watched the new season of Stick, season 1? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you hope they do a season 2? Let me know down below. Hit the like button, subscribe. Peace.